Hi, I'm here to tell you a little bit about my life map. So, I started there's a picture of a book because I love to read. And for me, school was a lot about kind of ignoring what was going on at school and just doing a lot of reading underneath the table. Um, it meant that school wasn't very hard for me, but I wasn't particularly engaged by it. Then I ended up going to Cal, and that was fine. And then while I was at Cal, I took a semester off to go work in France, and that was that was pretty significant because I didn't end up going to school. I was working, and in France, once you get off the educational track, you can't get back on. And so I ended up hanging out with people who had gotten tracked into like the working track, and as far as I was concerned, I hadn't really ever thought that you couldn't decide to go to community college once you had decided you didn't want to go to school. And so it was really significant to me to think about the fact that I think it was one of the places where I realized that there was a lot of privilege our in the educational system that I had experienced, and also the fact that people could make a different decision later on. Yes, it's super hard to go back to community college if you don't go right after high school, but it was possible. And so, and then I think also hanging out with people and realizing what life was like when you didn't have like a degree or a piece of paper, particularly in France. It actually really changed my experience of school, and I was a much better student when I got back. Then after school or after Cal, I ended up going into AmeriCorps because I knew I didn't want to, I wasn't ready to choose anything major. And, the fact that I was going to be doing something that felt like it was adding to the world, but I didn't have to make more than a 2-year commitment was really significant to me. So I did AmeriCorps, and it says not TFA on my thing because it definitely was not TFA. I did a lot of after school programming and tutoring, and realized that I loved middle schoolers, which I thought I was going to hate, but I realized that middle school is one of my favorite ages to work with. And did a lot of conflict management. I led a conflict management team there, and so I think that actually really helped me see middle schoolers from, I don't know, just like a really different perspective than it would have been if I'd just gone straight into credential program. I think I saw them much more as really capable, and no matter what their grades, like kids really wanting to be involved and to do good work in their school and in their world. So from there, I went to UCSB because I moved back in with my parents, and I could use my AmeriCorps money to pay for my credential and also live at home for a year. After that, I went back to the school in SRCS for Santa Fe City Schools because I went back to the place where I had done AmeriCorps, and I taught core and AVID and French. And I did that for 7 years, and then and ended up starting mentoring men and realizing I really liked working with adults as well. And then I had an opportunity to join the design team of Reach. And and also started thinking about what is the education that we provide adults who work with children, and what works about that and what didn't. So, and what would it look like to design a whole new educational system for people. So from there, I applied for one of the only full-time jobs when Reach started, and got that. And then at the same time entered into UC Davis. And so the first couple of years were spent working at Reach and also getting my doctorate. It was the first, also, I think it was really significant because it was the first time in my life that the things that I was learning in school had a direct impact on my day-to-day existence. And one of the things that a professor said to me, well, to our whole class at one point, was he asked us to think about how often kids learn things in school on a day-to-day basis that actually impact their experience of the rest of their lives. And so it's made me really think about, like, what is the purpose of education? And if the purpose of education is just to ask kids to wait for a long time until they get a piece of paper, then that doesn't seem super engaging. And then you can see from my time at Reach, I worked in our intern program, in our induction program, and now I work mostly in our Instructional Leadership Academy program, and then I co-teach our master's program. And then you can see also, finally, through all that, we ended up getting WASC accreditation in 2017. So I hope you learned a little bit about my educational life map.